He said I fired him because I wanted him.
You cannot sleep with the subordinate.
He came on to me.
Next Wednesday.
How is he supposed to know? If you don't tell him, you need space. You gotta kiss me.
Things are heating up.
I don't know what comes over me when it comes to you.
And when you play with fire,
I have a request. We talk over dinner.
What's Gary gonna say about that?
I'm not gonna tell him.
someone always gets burned.
Why do people do things like that?
You got to fight fire with fire.
Are you getting sued?
Tyler Perry's
Alright, Sistas fans, you just saw the preview for next week's episode, Season 3, Episode 7, entitled Protecting Myself. Now, we get a good Maurice scene here to kick things off. I mean, I was having an interesting conversation in the comment section of my episode review of The Chase, and, you know, there were a lot of people who seem to agree that Maurice does come off as a bit much at times, as opposed to having more serious moments. We get that he's like, kind of like Danny, the fact that he's more of a comedic character, but at the same time, if you have way too many comedic scenes, you can forget the character can have some very thought-provoking moments of wisdom. And he starts off the preview by telling Sabrina, it's like, regardless as to whether or not you did anything, he said you did this or you didn't do that, a manager should not be sleeping with their subordinate. And, you know, again, Sabrina tries to vouch for herself. It's like, well, I didn't do anything and he came on to me. And then Maurice is like, well, it really doesn't matter. So later on in the preview, she's also like, why do people do things like this? And then Maurice is like, you got to fight fire with fire. Basically, the fact that Maurice is just telling Sabrina straight up, look, you shouldn't have messed around with him in the first place. I'll probably do a separate video about the whole Jacoby getting fired thing. I'm still standing on the hill of he did not deserve to get fired in the first place. That's just my opinion. I've had some heated discussions in the Sistas Facebook group with people about it. But like I said, that's a full-on discussion in itself. I'll save for a separate video. And also, I apologize. Just know that this preview breakdown isn't just for the preview you saw. It's also for the end credit preview we got at the end of the episode. Along with that, make sure you hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit subscribe. Hit that bell notification icon to select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, it looks like there's somebody who comes up to the salon past closing hours and is knocking on the door. And, you know, Karen and Pam are like, oh no, we're closed. But, you know, he pretty much slides a letter underneath the door. It looks like it's a, what's it called? A subpoena. Essentially, Karen, according to Pam, is like, wait, are you being sued? Now, we don't know if she's really being sued here. Pam could just be jumping to conclusions because she's not directly next to Karen. She's kind of a little bit away, a little bit of space away, so she could just be reading it like, oh my god, are you being sued? At this moment, I can't really think of who would sue Karen. I mean, I doubt Zach did it, but you could probably say like, well, hey, you know, Karen had that arrest warrant out for Zach, so maybe he's suing her, you know, as revenge. He wouldn't do that, even though he could, but he's not doing that. Could it be Aaron? Could it be Fawn's family? You know, Aaron's ex-wife, you know, because, yeah, you know, Karen's mom, no, actually, Karen shot our son multiple times and yada, yada, yada. But then again, that was self-defense, so I don't think it was them. So at this point in time, I don't know who's the person who's potentially suing Karen. I really don't have that much intel. I might have to, you know, look into it a bit more. Just take some notes, but at this moment I can't give a definitive answer on who actually is suing. So we also get a scene of Zach telling Danny about Preston and the fact that how can you expect him to give you space if you don't just say, hey Preston, I need some space, as opposed to, you know, talking with the girls about it, or mainly Sabrina, and just saying, you know, well, I don't want to lose him completely, but I just don't want him around as much. But it's like, you're the one who invited him to stay. He paid 3 months rent. It's like, and plus you only see him when you're not at work or out with the girls. I mean, other than that, you know, he leaves during the day to, you know, work or whatever, because what, his commute is like, what, 2 hours to and 2 hours from where he works with his family and whatnot. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of funny because it reminds me of, like, you know, quarantine, how like a lot of couples are getting divorced and whatnot because they're not used to being with their spouse 24/7 around the clock. It's like, I'll see you in the morning when I wake up, then we both go to work, care the kids school, whatever, then we come back home, and like we see each other during part of the day, not the full day. But yeah, Danny needs to get off that. All right, and I think the last thing to talk about here is really the Andy stuff. So Robin asked Andy if they could talk about a settlement because his client is willing to settle, but they'll do so over dinner. Fatima's like, wait a minute, what is Gary going to say about this? Like, oh, I'm not going to tell Gary. So apparently Andy is sent over to, Andy sends Fatima over to her apartment in order to pick up a dress and some shoes. And she overhears some groaning coming from the bedroom. Now, could it be Gary and another woman? Could it be Gary and another man, Aaron? Could it be Gary pleasuring himself? Could it just not be Gary at all? I mean, remember, this isn't the first time that we've been led to believe someone was in, you know, a bedroom when it really wasn't them. You know, when Maurice thought he heard Calvin and another man, but it turned out to be his on again, off again, you know, F-boy Bootsy and Q. So I don't know. And then also there was a scene in the preview where Fatima's on the phone saying, I don't know what comes over me when it comes to you. Now we see Hayden, right? That's his name, Hayden, for like the first time this season, if I'm not mistaken. But also keep in mind, this could be effective misdirection. Could Fatima be talking to Zach? Could Fatima be talking to Hayden? Could Fatima be talking to Zach, but then Hayden intercepts? Look, he's the kind of guy that would do something like that, tap phones out. It's just whatever. But other than that, that's all I have for this particular trailer breakdown. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.